Welcome to the Kelly Cardenas Podcast. Oh, I didn't even have my mic with me. Welcome to the Kelly Cardenas Podcast. There we go. Where attitude is everything. And on the last couple of days, what I've been doing is going through Proverbs and corresponding proverb, corresponding day. I want to do the disclaimer, though. I am not a biblical scholar. I didn't go to school for this, but I have stated a Holiday Inn Express, and I have been reading this word for the better part of 30 years. I'm going to explain on that here in a little bit, but I thank you guys for being here this morning. I appreciate you, and welcome to another episode of Unscripted, walking through the book of Proverbs, which is the corresponding proverb, corresponding day, Proverbs 8. Let's go.
Cause we believing it's for certain. We put the work in. We ain't stopped just because it's hurting right before your eyes. So it's coming to no surprise. The takeover is televised over and over and over again. Make no mistake, we continue to win. Defeat never know, cause I will not lose. They wanna mimic my moves, but can't walk in my shoes.
Jump right in. Proverbs 8, it's January 8th, and we're doing the corresponding proverb for the corresponding day. And I wanted to share this with you because there's so much profound wisdom in this, but also, too, I was talking with my buddy Will, my friend of 40 years last night, and he said, a lot of times when I read the word or when I read the Bible, I don't understand it, or sometimes it has, some context or language that I don't connect with. And so what I wanted to be able to do is, for me, I grew up not writing that well, not reading that well. But my dad would always tell me, my pops would say, just read one word, feed on the word, and just do one thing. And here's another disclaimer. This is not about religion. It's not about church. It's not about any of those things. It's simply about wisdom and seeking wisdom. I read a book a couple years ago, and it said that if you simply read the corresponding proverb for the corresponding day, and you did this over the course of the year, it would triple your income. Well, it piqued my interest. And I didn't go at it just because the income side of it, but I wanted to see what was inside of Proverbs. And what I started to see was unbelievable. Yesterday, I said that I've been doing this for the last 3 or 4 years, but I actually checked in a Bible yesterday that I was looking at in Proverbs, and I have been doing this since 1997. I have not been as consistent as I would like to be, so don't judge me on that part. But let's jump right into Proverbs 8. So Proverbs 8 is wisdom's call. And wisdom's call, it's amazing because it seems like wisdom is very, very patient. And I don't know about you, but I'm a knucklehead a lot of times, and I hear of certain things, and I don't want to believe them until I'm ready. And it doesn't mean that they're not true. It just means that I resist them until all the situations in my life are where they need to be till I say, yes, that is truth. Well, it's amazing because wisdom is so patient. So in the first point that we want to hit today is the awareness of wisdom, and that's from verse 1 to 4. And I would invite you to read through these things. Sometimes you're going to read them, and it's going to be, say, King James, and it's going to be very Shakespeare. But what you'll find is when you start reading the Word, when you start reading Proverbs, not from a religious standpoint, but just from I would even say, even if it's from a business standpoint, if you're struggling in your business, you're struggling in your relationships, you're struggling wherever, or you just want to lift up, read just Proverbs, but read it from a point of that you want to get wisdom. So in verse 1 to 4, it's all about awareness. It's about letting you know that wisdom is calling out to all of us, and it's calling out to us all the time. Point number 2 is the advantages of wisdom. And there's a breakdown in this. There's 2 different sides to it. From verse 5 to 12, which is kind of cool. I've got the word right here. From verses 5 to 12, it talks about the advantages of wisdom, and here we go. So the advantages of wisdom, Let me see here. No, I don't want to do that. Well, I've got them right here. It says prudence, trustworthiness, discernment, knowledge, discretion, right? So these kind of things are massive because when you look at it, or when I look at it, prudence, being able to stay back from things that aren't the greatest for you, trustworthiness, discernment, knowledge, discretion. It's amazing because wisdom's call, there's never any downside to this. There's not a situation where I think, oh my gosh, like that thing that it's talking about or wisdom is talking about is probably not for me. And from verse 13 to 21, it's nice because it talks about the rewards if you find wisdom. And it says right here, it says in verse 17, I love those who love me, and those who seek me will find me. It's pretty simple, right? Because if we're seeking wisdom, we'll find it. Now, it's amazing because you hear in the personal development realm, whatever you're seeking is all seeking you also. Well, that comes right from the text of Proverbs 8. Right? I was talking with my buddy Will yesterday, and I said that, it's amazing because we did Proverbs 7 yesterday, and if you haven't watched that episode, I would suggest that you go back and watch that one. And if you go back 2 episodes from now, you'll watch Proverbs 6. And in Proverbs 6, it was right in line with Tipping Point, Malcolm Gladwell. It was incremental gain, tipping point, exponential gain, or incremental growth, tipping point, exponential gain. And then yesterday in Proverbs 7, it talked about things that you should do to protect yourself and to protect wisdom in your life, and then all the things that will happen in your life that are coming as far as the circumstance. And then it reminds you to go back and to do these little things and it'll save you. Well, it's amazing because if you look at the book of Atomic Habits, these are books that are written, which is amazing, and it's written in today's text, but a lot of the principle-based things are taken right from Proverbs, and I always like to go to the source. So the advantages of wisdom, let's hit them again. Prudence, discernment, discretion, knowledge, riches, wealth, and honor, right? So it's amazing because it's not only just from like a woo-woo or a feel-good kind of side. It compares worldly wealth and wisdom. It compares them twice. And it says more, here we go. It says more precious than rubies, and nothing you desire can compare to her. And then it goes again where it says, with me are riches and honor, enduring wealth and prosperity. My fruit is better than fine gold, and what I yield surpasses choice silver. Right? So let's go back to it. Point number 2 is the advantages of wisdom, which I said it is prudence, discernment, trustworthiness, knowledge, discretion, riches, wealth, honor. And then from verse 13 through 21, it talks about the rewards of finding wisdom. And the rewards of finding wisdom are not just in the riches and honor, but it's also when we look at it by in verse 15, by me, kings reign and rulers issue decrees that are just, and nobles, all who rule on earth. Guys, it's amazing because wisdom, first, it gives us the awareness that, hey, I'm calling out for you. Number 2, it gives the advantages of it. And then it says, hey, here's the rewards of it. And then what I loved in point number 3 was, let me go to this. Point number 3 was wisdom's history. So if you question wisdom's history, it goes through from verse 22 to 31. It just talks about the whole entire history of wisdom, right? And how many times have you heard someone say something and you want to check their credibility? Well, here's the credibility of wisdom and saying that. And then what I love about it is from verse 32 through 36, which takes us right to the end, is wisdom pleads. It pleads with us saying, please take me. Please take me. Now then, my children, listen to me. Blessed are those who keep my ways. Listen to my instruction and be wise. Do not disregard it. Blessed are those who listen to me, watching daily at my doors, waiting at my doorway. For those who find me find life and receive favor from the Lord. But those who fail to find me harm themselves. all who hate me love death. It's pretty strong call at the end, but when we look at it, wisdom's call, right? So wisdom's call is saying like, hey, I'm here. I'm shouting at the top of the rooftops and everywhere in the world. And here is the advantages of listening to me. Here are the rewards that you'll get if you listen to me. Here's my history. Here's my background. Here's what I've done. Here's my street cred, if you would take it that way. And then finally it says, like, let me just plead with you. Please let me have wisdom. Let you have wisdom, I should say. And so how can we get wisdom? Well, the cool thing is, we talked about it yesterday, the fear of God, or the respect. So change that word, not fear and trembling, but fear as far as respect. So if we respect the Lord, he will give us wisdom. That's what he says. And it's amazing because more than any money that we could ever have, it's better to have wisdom than it is to have money, because if you have the wisdom in business or in relationships, you can cause those businesses to flourish, which will cause the result of that will be financial gain. But if you focus on the financial gain, you won't get the wisdom. So seek wisdom at all costs. I want to finish with a quick story. I had a friend, his name is, man, I'm at a loss here. I had a friend in Germany, and he took me into his office and he showed me his old office, and I looked around, and it was amazing. And he shows me this Picasso, and I looked at it. And a lot of people have a Picasso, but most people don't have a real Picasso. But this was a real Picasso, and he said, "Kelly, let me tell you the story about that picture." And I said, "Okay." He said, "I was a young lawyer, and I wanted this." I did this case, and the guy came to me and he said, "You can either have one of two things. You can take the money that I owe you," which at the time he said it was about $5,000, and he needed it because he was young, and he was just got married. And he said, "You can take the money, or I could give you this picture." And he's like, "I don't need a picture. I'm not an art collector. I don't need anything." And the guy said, "Well, but I want you to go home and talk to your wife and think about it." He said, "I don't need to talk to my wife. My wife's going to want the money." So he goes home, tells his wife, and the wife says, "Take the $5,000. We need the $5,000. Well, the guy, he comes back to the guy, and the guy says, "No, you need to take the picture. You need to take the picture." And he says, No. And finally, the guy convinces him to take the picture. Well, you probably know the end of the story. The picture was a Picasso, and it was up, and it was an original Picasso, which is priceless and was far greater value than the $5,000. And a lot of times what we do as human beings, and what I do, is I take the money. I take the $5,000 as opposed to looking at and saying, what is the value long-term and lifetime of the picture? And so today, what I want to encourage you to do is choose wisdom over anything else. In this whole entire proverb, in Proverbs 8, all it talks about is just choose wisdom. How can we get wisdom? We can get wisdom by fearing the Lord. Wisdom's call will start out with the awareness, telling you that it's there. It'll tell you the advantages: prudence, trustworthiness, discernment, knowledge, discretion, riches, wealth, honor. It'll tell you the rewards of when you find it. Wisdom says stay far from pride and arrogance. Wisdom will give you its history, and then it'll plead with you. And how can we get it? Simply from the fear of God. I want to thank you so much for another episode of Unscripted. I hope you had a phenomenal time. I did. I love you. I will see you tomorrow with Proverbs 9. Have a wonderful day. I am officially off the hot seat. Peace, love, and soul.